Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I wanted to talk to you about resetting your eating habits. So every now and then on my Insta story, if you guys follow me on Instagram, definitely check out my stories because I literally am on them 24/7. I usually go on and ramble about my cysts because I get pimples sometimes, but I usually get pimples every couple of months, and a lot of the time it's because of hormones, but it can also sometimes be because of my diet, which can also influence my hormones. So what I tend to promote is eating an unrefined diet and doing a reset to make sure that you're resetting your taste buds and that you're actually craving whole foods rather than craving refined shit all the time, which is what happens when you eat it all the time. It's just a vicious cycle you don't want to get into. So today I thought I would run you through some of the main meals that I like to eat when I'm resetting. And before I get into showing you all of this in a little kitchen demonstration, I wanted to quickly just touch on a little topic which I think is quite interesting and important, and it's the topic of leptin. So for those of you that don't know, leptin is a hormone which is produced by the fat cells of your body. So people who have more fat cells in their body actually have more leptin, and people who have less fat cells in their body have less leptin. Leptin sends a signal to your brain that you are full. So leptin's role in the body is to regulate metabolism, but also to ensure that your appetite is maintained, so that you know when you're full, you know when you're hungry, you know when to eat, and you know when not to eat. So what scientists found, basically they thought because someone who was overweight had a lot of fat cells, they just assumed that they would be producing so much leptin that they wouldn't be hungry. But what they found was that these overweight people were actually craving more food, they were hungry all the time, and then they were overeating and therefore putting on more weight. And they realized that these people had become leptin resistant. They found that people dieting for 7 days had a reduction in their leptin levels by 50%. People who lost a lot of weight quite quickly, so even in a week to 2 week period, their brains became quite confused with the amount of leptin in the body. So what happens when your leptin levels get this low quite quickly, your body goes into starvation mode. So your appetite increases, but you also go into energy conservation. You don't want to expend energy, so you want to conserve energy. So generally these people feel tired and sluggish. And this is why I wanted to touch on dieting. It's better to eat a broad range of foods, to not restrict your food, to eat consistently, so every 3 to 4 hours, and make sure that you're upping your fat and your protein levels, because there's been a lot of studies done that eating fat and protein can really maintain your leptin levels. And remember, leptin is a hormone, and hormones all literally work in synergy with one another. So when one is off balance, it usually influences another. Quickly go on to the macronutrients that I like to eat when I'm going through a reset and what I sort of like to cut out. Now, because my resets are very much based upon skin and hormones, I do tend to cut out dairy, and that's just because there's been numerous studies that have found a correlation between dairy and either acne or just skin issues and also hormone issues. So I tend to cut out dairy altogether throughout this reset. But if you are someone who thinks they can tolerate dairy and they think it's good for them and they work well on dairy, then definitely it's all up to the individual. So you can do what you want. But my first tip is to eat great fats. So the fats that I like to consume are things like coconut oil, olive oil, nuts, fish. So fish has essential fatty acids, omega-3, really great for inflammation, for brain function, for everything. I definitely always recommend salmon or mackerel, or sometimes I even have sardines. The other type of fat that I like to promote is avocado. I always put it in my smoothies if I want that additional fat in my diet, and I do find that it's really great for keeping me fuller for longer. Remember, fats really do help regulate leptin levels, so you are fuller for longer and your appetite is definitely maintained throughout the day. My second tip would be to eat more protein. By protein, I'm talking about nuts, meat, fish, eggs, tofu or tempeh if you're vegetarian. Beans and legumes also have a great amount of protein in it. And in terms of protein powders, I personally have pea protein, and I'll show you the protein that I use right now. And per serving of the protein that I use, it's around 30 grams. In terms of carbohydrates, I definitely recommend having unrefined carbohydrates and getting as much of your carbohydrate consumption from vegetables as possible. So things like pumpkin, spinach, broccoli, sweet potatoes, starchy vegetables. Oh, you could also have brown rice, quinoa, You want to avoid things like white rice because brown rice and quinoa have more of the fiber intact, and the good thing about fiber, which is also in all of your vegetables, is that it keeps your blood sugar levels stable for longer. So as soon as you take out that fiber and that starch, you're pretty much getting an immediate blood sugar spike, which can play all sorts of havoc with your hormones, particularly insulin and then also leptin down the track. So I definitely recommend keeping things unrefined. I mean, if you really want sugar and you want to make sweet treats, I do sometimes make treats with rice malt syrup and just straight honey, but I really limit it and only use the tiniest amount because you really don't want to get addicted to sugar. And the more you eat it and the more you rely on those sources, you're pretty much eating sugar. Like, just try and cut it out, guys, if you can, just for a period of time. Now, in terms of the length of your reset, it's as much as you can tolerate. So I personally try to go at least a week. Obviously a month is optimum, but you just do what you can do. I also really don't like to promote restriction. So if you're really craving something sweet or chocolate or a glass of wine, don't deprive yourself because you only live once, and to be honest, you're probably going to eat it anyway, or you're going to have, you know, a shitload more of something else or binge on something because you didn't give your body what it wanted. So I'm all for listening to yourself, but try and make your diet or your healthy reset lifestyle change 80% whole foods, 20% indulgent. And I think that's it. I just had a bit of word vomit, and I hope that I got through everything as fast as I can. But now I'm gonna go straight into the kitchen, what I sort of go to the supermarket and purchase. If you like this vlog, please give me a thumbs up, and if you like my channel, please subscribe because I will be uploading as regularly as possible. My next video is probably going to be about hormones. So I'm going to analyze my saliva hormone test, but also my blood hormone test. So make sure you subscribe to my channel so that you're alerted when I post that video because it will be super interesting. But anyway, I will get straight into the video and I'll see you in my next vlog. Okay, so I've just gotten home and I've just put all of my groceries into piles based on the different meals that I'm making. Okay, first I'm going to start with my snacks because they're the most important to me. So I'm currently using Protein Supplies Australia pea protein, and I'm using the honeycomb flavour. So in the afternoons when I'm craving something sweet, I have a serving of pea pro, I have almond milk, and I have my granola and a banana in a smoothie, and it literally tastes like a vanilla thick shake or a honeycomb thick shake. It's seriously amazing. So I definitely recommend that combination. Otherwise, I have my granola with some coconut yogurt and some grated apple. That's really nice, and I find because it's really high in healthy fats and high in protein. So one serving of this granola has the fat in 1 avocado, the protein in 1 egg, and the equivalent sugar in 1 slice of apple. So it's really nutritionally quite good, and it does definitely make me energetic for the gym and gives me stable blood sugar. In the mornings, I like to have a green smoothie, and I usually leave my protein smoothie till after the gym or before the gym. I love baby spinach. I have a lot of baby spinach each week. I literally go through about 3 bags of this a week. I either have apple or kiwi fruit. Lemon is really alkalizing, so I love that. Cucumber is really hydrating. Avocado has really great healthy fats, and fat is amazing for skin, so always make sure you're adding fat to your diet if your skin is out of whack. So now moving on to the 2 meals I'm going to make today, and I'll go through it with you. So for my lunches, I'm going to make buckwheat chicken, and I'm going to add all types of spices to it, plus my granola. So I'll show you how to do that. In terms of my dinner options, I've got some organic beef, which I'm going to make into a spaghetti sauce, but I'm going to add a crap load of vegetables.
Trying to forget you, I'm all alone in a ghost town. There's a beautiful madness inside my soul, and I can't stop thinking of you.